In 1987, one of the greatest Stanley Cup Finals was played between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Edmonton Oilers. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. And we're getting closer to the end of this series. I'm having fun doing this. Today, we're going to discuss Game 6 of the 1987 Stanley Cup Finals. Arguably one of the greatest games in Flyers history. Also one of the greatest moments in Flyers history, as you see on the screen right there with the painting of Brian Propp. Let's get into this game. Once again, credit to Dave TV2 for the highlight videos. As we're going to see if YouTube will load up here. I'll give you the highlights of Game 6 of the 87 Finals, as I did for the last 5 games. Flyers are coming off a big win in Game 5 in Edmonton. They stole Game 5 on Edmonton ice to send the game back to Philadelphia. But can the Oilers learn from their mistakes from what they did after their Game 3 loss? Like they did in Game 4, will the Oilers learn from their mistakes and come back and take the series on Spectrum Ice? Now this thing is starting to act stupid. Let's try this again. Back that, and here we go. Like I said, the Oilers, they learned their lesson after Game 3's loss, and they came back and dominated the Flyers in Game 4. Would they be able? I mean, the question was, would they fall on their laurels and not respond, or would they actually step up and shut the Flyers down? Or would the Flyers do what they've been doing, and that's basically shock everybody? It was like, gotta get this.
It's going to be an exciting series. I think, Dean, as you well know, everybody...
Here, Game 4. I have to do this way because my screen is not working right. Here we go. Game 6 of the 1987 Stanley Cup Finals. Here you go, folks.
With Poulin and Ilkerson is out of the puck, shot into the Oilers' zone on the far side of Glenn Anderson, and away to center, long drive, and that's blocked off by Hextall, and Lindsey Carson in there in the forecheck, to the point to Howe, screen shot, rolls wide of the net as it got behind Pure, centering pass, deep front, and rolls through the crease, and the Flyers are getting what they wanted, a fast start, and now they've got to put something in the hole. Flyers dig the puck out, pocket right out in front, and shot! Oh, what a careless pass, and the Oilers almost sunk Philadelphia early at 2:15 of scoreless action. Derek Smith, he goes in and he's pulled down from behind, and that's going to be a penalty against Dave Hunter. The Flyers in action. A shot by Samuelson. Stolen away, and there's a shorthanded breakaway for Gretzky's in. Goes to shoot. Hextall the save. And the Flyers, for the third straight home game, almost get burned shorthanded. There's almost a steal. Berg keeps the puck. Now cuts in. He's got an open man low. There's a pass around behind the net. Score!
It was kicked in by Kevin Lowe, and I don't think Dave Newell saw that.
It's going to count. And for the 8th straight game, the Flyers see the first goal scored against them, and for the 9th time in their last 10. Now has a play to the near side, shoots right on, sit around behind for Gregg. The Propp in an angle shot, and he's into the zone. Up the middle, drops to Ruotsalainen with a cannon shot from the top of the right circle. And right now, the Oilers, with that goal, have taken the game away from Philadelphia. And Daniel has the trouble, loses it. McTavish short side shot. Oh my, the Flyers are having their troubles now. And again, the Flyers are held to 5 shots through this first period with 7 minutes remaining as the Oilers put it up on the far side and center. And Samuelson buries his man as Messier, and he still has him. He rolls it into the deeper. There's Messier. Oh, there's an interference on Derek Smith. Clearly thrown by Craig Muni. And that allowed Messier to break out of the zone up the middle. Swings to his left. Oh, gets a screen. In front. Shot. What a save off Nielsen. And now we're going to get a penalty against Crossman for interference. And Poland is giving Newell an earful. At the blue line, there's a play. Gretzky has it. Shot in along the near side. McTavish comes right out in front. Look out! Shot! Hextall is saved. Rebound. Score!
Right now they're being outshot 12-5, as well as being outscored 2-0 and outplayed.
Fourth straight game, they've fallen behind 2-0. Compositely in the first period in the series, the Oilers now outscored the Flyers 9-1. There they go. They fly right past McCrimmon. Backhand shot. He looks. Now rips the shot on save. Gretzky is alone in front. Supposed to shoot. Lost it as Hextall went down. Now a stopper. Backhander. Rebound. Saved by Hextall. Greg takes it in the corner. Rips it around to the near side. And the Oilers are just naming the tune of the hockey game right now. 15-5. The shots, they lead 2-0. The Oilers keep it in up the slot. There's sharp side shot by Lowe. And the Flyers just having an awful first period, considering the importance of the game. With 7 seconds left, and the Flyers again are going to go into the dressing room with a 2-goal deficit as Muni retreats behind the net. And we quietly come to the end of the period, and we're going to get a cross-check on Murray Craven, who decked Glenn Anderson. So the Flyers start the second period with a deficit, and Brad Marsh is talking to Dave Newell, who says, I don't want to hear it.
Samuelson will get that penalty. He just lowers the boom from behind on Anderson, but Anderson had gotten his stick up on Samuelson, and Samuelson just went after him. Seward cut him on the nose, and Sammy just had enough, and he went right after Anderson and gave him a shot.
Work offensive right corner, checking in there is Messier. Down goes Poulin as he was knocked down. There's a roll at the side of the net and a little shovel in by Curry, just to the front left of Hextall. And the Flyers have had but 5 shots in the game, and 1 or 2 since the 6-minute mark of the first period. Tries to work in to the near side, spins it in on the net as he left side, shot on Fuhr, and this was wide. Goes back to the point. Marsh's shot, and there was Brown to tap it in on net. Shoots the rebound off Fuhr. Brown takes it out of the corner. Man in front. Shot. What a save. Comes to the hash marks, into the slot to Lowe. Shot on. He's buried at center ice by Daniel. Oh, there's a steal. Short-handed play. Side. Stop. Save. And the Oilers have carried play since the Flyer goal, and there's a breakdown in front. Open man all alone. Shoots. Save by Hextall. Turnaround save in front by Daniel. Rather than the Flyers gaining momentum, the Oilers have just been on the attack since Philadelphia's goal. There's a fight in that corner between Marsh and Anderson, quickly separated by Murray Craven, and the tempers and the volatile point of the game rises another notch. We have played 8:55 into the second period, and McCrimmon is going to go off, and then he takes another punch from Anderson.
Now Messier's had some words with Melody.
They're playing cat's mouse to Huddy. Boom! And save made. And the rebound shot on the net by Curry. And Flyers have not had a shot since the 7-12 mark. And that encompasses the last 5 minutes of play after they scored. By Poulin. Nice little move. Boom! And Crosby is just pulled down on a dump play by McSorley. He's got a shot to a screen. Oh, and right in there. And it hit Fury. Never saw it coming. Quickly gets back. And then over the line to the near side. Looks for the trailer. Shot on Fuhr. Makes the save. Rebound swept in front, but there's nobody there. And the Oilers try to come out. Boom! To the point. Samuelson a shot on. And Fuhr grabs the rebound, and the Flyers showing light. With a minute 29 remaining in the second period. They're down by a goal at 2-1.
Well, that's what the Flyers have to do. They've got to go to the net and make things happen.
So Howe around to the far side. 5 seconds left and prop from the neutral zone. Fires a long one off Fuhr's blocker as we come to the end of the second period. The only goal, Carson is third from Brown and Marsh at 7-12. So will this be the final 20 minutes of the year for the Flyers, or will it prove to be just a prelude to Game 7 on Sunday in Edmonton? That story is now in the hands of those on the ice. Howe up the middle. Look, got a shot. And Fuhr grabs it to Howe. He looks, he gets a screen. Drive and Fuhr with a nice kick save. Messier with Curry. Messier is shot. Save and a good one by Hextall. Round to the near side. Anderson is smothered. Got a big shot right there off the body of Hextall. One over the line. Top right circle. Drive on Fuhr by Hextall. Pulling back to the point. Samuelson right on. Get it behind it. All alone in front is Anderson. Boy, the Flyers said have a play there, and we're going to get a stoppage as the net becomes dislodged to the left side of Ron Hextall. To the zone come the Oilers. McTavish with Curry in front. Pass, shot right on. Low. Muni doesn't know where to go with it. Puts it around to the near side where it's blocked by Prop. In front. Shovel shot is right at the goal line. Oh, my. And the ref referee says no goal. Didn't get over with 9:28 gone into the third period. Philadelphia's own Gretzky, coffee in, bubble shot. Oh, and Hextall. And there's up ice. We're going to have a penalty.
It had to be called sooner or later. Anderson has had a stick up all night long on Shell Samuelson's face. This time he swings around from behind and hits Zezel right in the face.
Flyers 0 for 4 on the power play. 4 for 21 on the playoffs against Edmonton. Drop pass and drop off to the point. Into the corner to Edmonton. Straight out in front to Prop. Shot! Goal! That goal coming at 13:04. And it's 2-2 as the Flyers again have come back from a 2-goal deficit. With 5:39 remaining in regulation. Up the middle, a pass trying to find Prop again. The Oilers to the point. Daniel is back.
Boy, I'll tell you, these people are going crazy.
Unbelievable performance again. 25 games in 50 days. 117 games this year with the preseason. Flyers again have come from the dead to lead 3-2. To stun the Oilers again with a pair of goals a minute and 24 seconds apart. And the Flyers now have what they want, the lead. They hold it for another 5 minutes, and we have the first 7-game Stanley Cup final in 16 years. Anderson to the point, Rager's shot. Kick save by Hextall. Messier looks on net. Save by Hextall. Stop. Rolls into the net. Oh, Clinton 2-on-1. Zezel a drive. Short side save. And they come down in front. They jam it in on the net too. Track over the line with a drive. Big save. Wilson taps it through. They roll looking for coffee. Now Hextall takes it. He lifts it high. Not out. Open net. Save. Rebound. Tipped over the net. Centering pass. 5-4. Back to the point drive. That's out. The Flyers are going to win it. My, what a series. My friends, years to go. In 95 and 2000, as long as this league exists, those who have seen this series will say you should have seen the one in 87 with the Oilers and the Flyers.
So the Flyers again come back from 2 goals down to stun the Oilers in Game 6 to send the series back to Edmonton for Game 7. You heard it from Gene Hart there. 25 games in 50 days and 117 games, including the preseason that the Flyers have played so far in this series. They are a tired hockey club, but they keep fighting back. They do not give up. They do not want to give up this series, and they stun the Oilers in Game 6. Edmonton, for some strange reason, going up 2 goals, they wind up going into a defensive game. And if they would have done what they did in Game 4, which is just keep the pressure on, once they went up the 2 goals, they probably would have blew the Flyers out. But they automatically go into this defensive posture of a defensive game, and the Flyers just keep coming. You know, after Lindsey Carson scores the first goal for the Flyers, you figured, all right, they're starting to get a little bit of momentum. But Edmonton, again, Edmonton's credit, that they decide to, they put the pressure on. But Ron Hextall keeps the Flyers in the game. And towards the end of the second period, you can see the Flyers get their legs underneath them. And they pretty much carried the third period. And they just kept pressuring shots on Grant Fuhr. And they kept throwing it to the point to where the dam was going to break. And Glenn Anderson, all game long, you heard Bobby Taylor, either it was Bobby Taylor or Ed Van Impe who said it. He had his stick up in Shell Samuelson's face all night, and he got caught with it up in Peter Zezel's face, and it cost the Oilers a penalty to go on the penalty kill, and the Flyers on the power play. Flyers going into that thing, they were 0 for 4 on the night. They were 4 for 21. I believe it was 4 for 21 against Edmonton in the finals. And the shot Prop makes to tie this hockey game, he gets the puck in the slot, and he just snaps it, and he finds the top corner to give the tie the game up. And a minute and 17 seconds later, J.J. Daigneault, who would wound up becoming a journeyman defenseman, stuns the Oilers with a blast from the point. to get by Grant Fuhr. And if you've noticed so far in all these highlight videos, it seems the Flyers are always firing the pucks long ways out from Grant Fuhr. I don't know if, and it looked like Grant Fuhr had trouble handling those kind of shots. I don't know if that was a weakness. He's a Hall of Fame goaltender, and if you're a Hall of Fame goaltender, you rarely have any very weaknesses that you have. But if you've noticed in these highlight videos, the Flyers are firing pucks 25 feet out. Give Scott Mellanby credit for a great screen on that J.J. Daniel goal. But you can see the electricity in the spectrum at that time. Rick Tocchet at one point during a Flyers 25th anniversary video, he said that it was like sticking your finger in a light socket. I mean, your whole body just went numb. He said guys on the bench were losing it. Al Morgani, I believe, he said when he was at the game, you could see paint chips from the spectrum falling. That's how loud the building was. I mean, that is the loudest that building has ever been. I mean, the Flyers stun the Oilers. Again, they go down two goals, and again they come back and win a heart stopper. And especially at the end of that game, where Kexy tries to clear the puck out with about 10 seconds to go, and Mark Messier jumps up, grabs the puck, and has a wide open net. The save Hextall makes is outstanding, and you can hear it in Gene Hart's voice how excited he is. That was a heart-stopping moment. That was a heart-stopping game, and the Flyers wind up coming back again to tie the series 3-3, going back to Edmonton. And Edmonton going back to Edmonton, the Oilers going back to their home building for Game 7 on that flight back have got to be, they have got to be thinking, what do we have to do to put this team away? The Flyers would not die. And you heard Gene Hart say it. He said, years to come in the year 1995 and the year 2000 and how long the league has existed, you should have seen the one in 87 between the Flyers and the Oilers. And folks, this has been a great series. It's a great series, and it's why it's one of the greatest Stanley Cup Finals of all time, because the Flyers just would not die. Now we're going to go to Game 7. Yes, spoiler, Edmonton wins Game 7. But just to show you how much the Flyers just fought and fought in this series to even take Edmonton to a 7th game is remarkable. So we will see the highlights from Game 7 on the next time I do this. Folks, I'm hoping you're enjoying this, and I hope this one here really gets you excited, because it's one of the greatest games in Flyers history, one of the greatest moments in Flyers history with the prop goal and the J.J. Daniel goal. I'm having fun doing this. I'm getting close to the end, so hopefully, we're getting close to hockey season. I'll be coming on with some stuff, but I'm hoping you guys are enjoying this, especially the Flyers fans, reliving some magic from 30 years ago. As I always end my episodes, and as the late, great Gene Hart would say, my friends, good night and good hockey.